Yo, YouTube, it's card show day. I made a mistake in my calendar. I thought this week was the Appleton show. Turns out that was actually last weekend. So today I'm going to head back to the Green Bay show. So when I made the video of last time, it's monthly show. Pretty good show. Definitely find stuff there each time, so I'm excited about it. It's close to my home, which is nice that way. So gonna make a couple stops. I got some mail to drop off, of course, and I've got to get some cash. So we're gonna make those quick stops and head to the show. All right, so we're at the show. Let's go take a look at what we can find. Woo! It's definitely cold out. I don't like wearing a coat and all that layers inside, so I've stripped my jacket off and I just put the harness on so I could videotape. But it's a short walk. The parking is pretty close to the entrance door. So that's the good news. And hopefully this will be the last month where it's this cold. It should start getting into the 40s. So those of you who don't live anywhere near Green Bay, it can be anywhere from negative 40 to 50 degrees in the winter. It's a crazy range. But yesterday it was probably in the mid 20s. So here we're walking through the back stock of the store, which is how you get through to the show. And it's pretty much the same dealers that I've seen every month there for the last few months, which is okay because I like the dealers there. It's a really nice atmosphere. It's conversational. I definitely know which dealers to go to find my buys, so it saves me some time there, and it gives me a target right away when I come in. I know where to go. So these first few tables inside the door are usually dealers that I buy from. They have nice stuff. I'm checking out that Trevor Lawrence Comics wildcard card. Those have been going for about $50. So I was real tempted to ask him what he wanted for it, but he doesn't put prices on anything, and I feel like he would just comp it if he didn't know what it was, and so I couldn't really get a deal on it. So I'm going to pull up my phone here and take a look and see how they're selling. So you'll see here on the screen how it shows. So if you've never done this at a show before, this is a good idea. If you see a card that catches your interest but you're not quite sure what it sells for, it's a good idea to just look up recent sales and check it that way. So I looked up the card. Now I'm going to go to sold listings because I don't care what people are asking for it. I care what it's sold for. And there's a recent one. That's the blue and the silver. There's a few different parallels to it, so I want to make sure I'm looking at the one that I see on the table there. I figure I just came in the door. It's something I'm sort of interested in, but maybe I'll circle back to it depending on how the show goes. That might be my buy. It is a non-league team licensed card. They're player licensed, the wildcard cards. I don't really care. I'm buying the player. I don't really care what team they're on, or if it has the NFL logo on it or whatever. It doesn't really matter to me. Now, game used is different. If it's game used, it better be a NFL game used jersey or shoe or helmet or whatever the piece is in the card. Okay, so we're going to keep going down here. This guy's got some, looks like dollar box type stuff, but they're actually not dollar box. He has each card sleeved and priced on the card. Don't really want to go too far into that. It's not what I buy. So you can see there's prices on every card. So we'll keep looking. This guy had things sorted out pretty well. He had the Brady stuff sorted out, and then he had Favre stuff sorted out. Each one was top loaded and then bagged, and he has his stuff down pretty nice, but he's also priced at or above retail on all of it. So I'm not really interested in that, because any of this types of stuff I would buy, I would just be looking for resale. But I'll look through it. Maybe he's got something that's marked, or something rare, or a parallel, something like that, a numbered card, something where I feel like there's some room on it. But it's all just mainly base stuff, Topps Chrome and that. Nice stuff. I like those cards, and I can easily sell them, but I can't buy them at retail. So we're going to move on from there. This guy has some Favre stuff, so I just stopped to kind of poke at that, see if he had anything interesting out on his table. Gonna wait for the clog of traffic. There's just this little hallway to walk through there, so kind of have to wait for it to clear out a little bit before you can keep moving on. You see another sorted box to the right of me there, but it wasn't the type of thing that I'm looking for. Again, they were sorted, but I think it was all basketball teams. I don't really buy basketball, other than sealed products. I'll buy some wax here and there. Try to hit some of the good rookies, but I don't buy them as singles. So this is the first dealer that I bought from. So I am going to make another video where you see all of my purchases. But this was a $1 box, or I think it was $5 for $4. I don't know. He had some kind of deal based on quantity. So I knew if I could bulk up my quantity, I could get an even better deal. So I started digging, and it's a lot of 2021 rookies. I don't buy a lot of that stuff. I pulled a bunch of it. Second year Burrow, a little bit of color from Select, but it's all no-name players. Just about ready to give up on this box, but I've seen enough in that first stack that I feel like, okay, well, maybe if I dig a little bit more, I'll see something where I have some opportunity. I really like the Select stuff. I know it was overprinted, so I wasn't going to buy much this year, but it still sells well. There's collectors that like it. There is the 3 tiers on the base cards, the Club, Premier, and the Concourse. So I do feel like that helps a little bit. So even though it was overprinted, there are multiple styles of the base cards. And for the big name players, it's kind of like, I thought about that a lot with Topps Chrome back in the day. I used to buy stacks of, let's say Brady, for example, Brady Chrome base, $1 a piece, right? Because they made so much Topps Chrome in the late to early 2000s. But now, if you had a stack of those, I mean, a Topps Chrome Brady base goes for $12 to $15, for a base card. So I kind of felt like, well, if it's a premium, here's some vintage. I hit some vintage in there. So I thought maybe there'd be some opportunity there. Some more color, some parallels, things like that. So I'm starting to feel like I could maybe put something together. I'm going to check the other side here, see if there's... Nope, that's all basketball. So we're going to go back to the football side. Grab one more stack, see if I can start pulling some things out and having... Here's some more vintage. So this really opened the door. So I found a Micah Parsons rookie, which his stuff sells really well, and then I found a Trevor Lawrence rookie in a $1 box. Yeah, it's the Connections rookie, where it's his college uniform and his pro uniform, but still it's got that foil surface. It's prestige. It's a nice brand. Or is it Absolute? Absolute, I believe. No. Yeah, I think it's Absolute. Anyway, you can see here on the screen. I'm looking at a little version of it, so I can't really tell from what I'm seeing. But so I feel like there's going to be enough here where I can put something together and get a deal on it. This show doesn't have a ton of dealers, so I can't just say, well, there's 15 more tables of $1 boxes to look through. It's not really the case. There's usually 4 or 5 real $1, quarter, dime box sellers. So I have to take advantage of the limited amount of dealers that are there. So I'm starting to dig through now and put aside what I want to purchase out of this. So you can see it's a lot of, it looks like he just took all the rookie cards out of the boxes he bought and just stuck them in this box. But now I'm going to go back to the beginning because there were definitely a few cards in the beginning that I saw that I would like. So I figure, alright, I'm starting to make my stack. Let's make sure we pull out the stuff that we saw earlier that we want. So there's no Mahomes, there's no Brady, you know, those no-brainer buys of mine weren't in there, so it was going to take a little digging. I think that was a Brady parallel pink, so that was a good one. I mean, Brady, I would buy any Brady base card for $1, let alone a parallel. So there's a Burrow, second year Burrow stuff. I'm going to buy that all day long. He's got a pretty hot following already, and he's going to be the big, everyone wants him, seller, you know, investor, whatever you want to call it, before the preseason. So, gotta have that Burrow stock. I don't buy Kyler Murray and I don't buy Lamar Jackson for the most part. You know, it was really something sweet for a good deal. But I don't believe in them as long-term players in the sport. So I don't want to bulk up buying their cards and then get stuck with them. Personal opinion. You have to, you know, go with what you think will have future potential, especially when you're buying bulk. Because there's no way I'm going to buy a stack of these cards and they're all going to sell tomorrow. So I have to look at it like, okay, well, can I get sales for these, you know, as time goes on, and can they increase in value as time goes on in that player's career? So I'm going to grab this Franco Harris vintage. The other vintage ones I have plenty of, Archie Manning, stuff like that. So I'm going to skip on those. At $1 a piece, that's a little much for common vintage. For what I normally pay, I like to kind of be down in that 15 to 25 cent range. And they were a little above commons. I guess they're mainly semi-stars, if you will, but so we're still digging. We're a little over halfway through the box. So we've hit the Chronicles portion of the box, so it's a bunch of Chronicles stuff stuck in there. Found this Joe Thomas rookie. They don't make a lot of lineman rookies. Joe Thomas is a Hall of Famer, one of the best ever. So for, you know, what's going to end up being less than $1, I thought that was a good buy. It is Topps, you know, flagship, so there's a Brady, just a base card, but any Brady I buy out of $1 box, it's mine. Here's a Mahomes. Can't remember if that Mahomes is color or not. I'm sure you can see better in the full-size video there. So look at this. I found a bunch of Stafford second-year Topps Chrome. Figured those were a pretty good buy. I think, assuming he doesn't retire, or even if he does, I guess, at this point he's still going to be considered for the Hall of Fame. He's got his ring finally, and his second-year Topps Chrome is, you know, second-year Topps Chrome of Brady, of Rodgers, you know, Breeze, you know, any of those guys, those are pretty good money. So I figured 3 of those for less than $1 a piece was a good buy. And they didn't print many cards those years. That was 2010 or 2011, I believe. Topps Chrome, those are one of the lowest printed years. So his rookie cards are almost impossible to find. So a lot of people might turn to second years just because of that. Did find that Jay-Z card, 2008 Topps. It's a little bit older. It's just the base version. It's not the chrome or the refractor, but Jay-Z stuff does pretty well, and I don't have anything in the store like that, so I try to buy things that are different that I can flip. It was a gold refractor. I thought about it as a no-name player. I thought about buying it just because it was a gold refractor. Thinking, you know, I'd probably get a couple of bucks for it, maybe from somebody's collecting a set or a team or something like that, but I passed on it. I probably could have picked up a few more of these cards and made a bid on them. But again, this is early in the show too, and I was trying to kind of focus on what I really wanted to buy. You see a lot of refractors and color and stuff, but they're no-name players. So I found another one of those Devin Hesters. If you watch my sales videos, I had like 5 or 6 of those that I bought in that weird bulk lot of stuff that I bought for the farm inserts. And I sold all of them. Devin Hesters did really well, so I thought, for less $1 or $1, I'll throw another one in the store. See if I can find a buyer for it. This is a bunch of gold medallion ultras. Again, all no-name players, unfortunately.
Thank you.
We're getting through this box pretty quick here. So I found this Looney Tunes, Gretzky, and Bugs Bunny card, so I have to have that. A strange card. Anything Gretzky out of a $1 box I'll buy. I don't care what it is. So that was a really cool find. Patrick Mahomes' second-year playoff card. Take that all day long. His second-year stuff is starting to increase in value as the rookie stuff is getting so out of hand, price range for anybody, that second-year stuff's doing well. I'm just going to grab a little stack on this left side just to see if there's any non-basketball stuff in it, but it looks like it's all basketball. And I'm not really interested in buying basketball. I don't want to spend time on it. I don't care for it. I don't collect it, so unless I'm getting waxed and taking a shot at some higher end, some autos or numbered inserts or something like that, I don't really want to buy any out of a $1 box. I think basketball stuff, a lot of basketball is overpriced. It was the first thing to really take off when the market went, and I understand the international game and blah blah blah, but I think there's a lot more opportunity with the star football stuff. If I were to buy a second-year LeBron, like that second-year Mahomes there, a second-year LeBron would be $30 maybe. In a playoff type brand, something of equal par there. So to get Mahomes for 70, what I'm going to end up getting it here for, 70 cents, whatever. I think the Mahomes is the better buy. I found a little stack of Brady stuff, figured I'd dig through it, but it's pretty much all priced at retail. You can see he had one of those based on Russes in there for $3. I found one in his $1 box. So I paid a third of the price on the one that I found.
There's 17. Would you do 10? Okay.
Plus, of course, the discount.
It's the get rid of it box, right?
So I had 17 cards and gave him $10 for them. So I paid about 60 cents a piece, somewhere around there. If I can quick do the math in my head. It's my first buy of the day. I'm going to get those in the bag, of course, nice and safe in there. I like using this backpack. It has in this first zipper, it has like an inner pocket on the top, so I can snug them nice and safe in that top pocket. I don't have to get a bunch of boxes out and things like that. So for, low on dollar cards, as long as they're sleeved in that, they'll be fine in that little pocket till I get home from the show. We're going to work our way down. Found another little $1 box that was sorted by sport. There's some football in there, nothing that I was interested in. I don't really buy any no-name stuff. no-name players. I buy Hall of Fame. Well, you guys know what I buy, I suppose, at this point, but I like the Hall of Fame stuff, or guys that are currently playing that I believe in hardcore, but quarterbacks pretty much only. Maybe a receiver here or there, or like a hot running back that I feel like I could flip, something like that, or a special talent like a Kamara or a Debo Samuel, where they sort of get a little bit more attention because they do things outside their position. But random receivers or linemen or something like that, I don't buy any of that. Running backs. So I don't really see any value in that box. We'll move along here. So this dealer had some hockey, which I thought was interesting. So kind of figured I'd take a little closer look, see if maybe there was some soccer. I'm really trying to buy more soccer stuff. It's so hard to find in my area. Hardly anybody collects it, deals in it. You just don't really find much. So you can see again, he has kind of a sorted box there with a bunch of labels on it, which I love. It's either great because you can go right to what you want to buy, or you can skip it all entirely because it's not going to have anything to offer you. So it just saves you from the time waster. Now he had a $1 box of cards here, but again, it's all kind of no-name rookies, not quarterbacks. Lower level brands. Most of the really good brands aren't even really out yet this year, like Prism and Optic and stuff like that. So I looked anyway, grabbed a whole stack, miles of football all the way through it. Maybe there's a shocker in there, something that would surprise me to be in with those other cards, but I didn't find anything. So I'll grab a little stack from the front. Maybe he's got them sorted differently, and there's stars and Hall of Famers in the front. I don't know. But yeah, I didn't find anything that I wanted to pay money for. And this old school jersey card, I thought that was interesting that was in there, but not a huge fan of the memorabilia cards. I mean, game used obviously only, but still, the player still matters. It still has to be a Hall of Fame quarterback or a generational player like a Barry Sanders or something like that for me to want to buy that. Alright, we're going to skip back over to here. So this is a vintage dealer. It's got all these different vintage cards top loaded and stuff. Got some stacks on the table. Some of it is later years, some 90s stuff, some 80s baseball, things like that. But he did have a sort of a lower end vintage box. You can see that to the top right there. And I was interested in digging through that, so I'll be doing that shortly. Alright, so I'm going to pull a few of these out and just see what's there, see if there's pricing on them. Some of them had pricing, some didn't. It looks like he had written in permanent marker on the back side of the top load the price he was looking for. Which in a little while he's going to come and tell me that. And I just thought I'd take a shot at it. I definitely didn't want to pay the prices he was looking for, but vintage football is something that I'm looking for. These were all sorted to stars, or all top loaded. Would be easy for me to list and sort of expand and have some more vintage to put out. But he had no idea what he wanted for a price. So I'm kind of waiting for him to come over so I can have that conversation with him. Look through some other older stuff. I mean, anything Montana I can do well with. There's another Montana. There's some Walter Payton, Marcus Allen, second year. I thought, okay, well these would be fun if I can get them cheap enough. I would have some fun with these and hopefully sell a few, make some money on it. Plus get all the top loads. He had some really old stuff, like some early 50s, just stuff that you don't see at shows real often. Older football.
So the price on the back of the quick price, I'll work with you on that.
So that's him telling me, hey, prices in the permanent marker on the back. You can see that one said $4, which I would never pay $4 for that card. That's maybe what I would sell it for. So I'm starting to look at these going, okay, well there's some decent names in here. The condition was okay. I mean, okay enough that I would find buyers for them. Older stuff, decent quantity. It wasn't just a couple of cards. That Namath, he had priced at $75, which I thought was crazy, but so I thought, so here I go, I offer him to see if I could buy the whole box. I said, what would you want? He said he had no clue.
I'll stop back.
I said, I'll stop back later.
Okay.
Well, I had kind of peeked my eyes over there once in a while over the next hour or two while I was at the show, and I didn't see him trying to work on a price at all. So I think he was just not really interested in it, so I just kind of let it go. Or I feel like he would have just thrown out a sky-high number just to get me to say no. Alright, so we're going to round the corner then to the backside wall of the show. Sometimes to the right there is a couple of Appleton dealers that I regularly buy from. They're not here this week. This guy right here on the left, I buy from almost every time I go. He puts a lot of... Actually, no, this is I take that back. This is a younger dealer before I get to that other dealer. He had just a bunch of really low-end Leaf Draft and late, older score and stuff like that in his 10-cent box. So I figured, well, I'll dig through, a handful of these or so and see if there's anything worth it. And I just really wasn't interested in what was there. A couple of cards that I hadn't really seen before, which is kind of fun. But just nothing I really wanted to invest in. Some classics.
Yeah, I was really just looking for numbered cards mainly.
Which I do like, but just,
they're all in front.
I don't know. I just wasn't getting a feel that there was going to be anything in there for me.
And then, what you got out? I'll switch with you.
But for 10 cents a card, you got to take a look, right? So then I'm going to get to I think they're 50 cents a card, something like that. Top-loaded stuff. Maybe they were $1, I don't remember. But like Drew Lock and a bunch of those guys I would never buy. Some color, some parallel stuff, but I don't buy just because of that. Player's number one when I buy something. Who's on that card? But again, a nice roll box, pretty well organized. I thought it was worth taking a shot at looking through a couple stacks to see if there's anything in there. These are the 50-cent ones. But you can see like the score, no-name rookies, guys that don't play, things like that. There's no reason for me to buy that. That's just a loss. Yes, will one of those guys pop out, in the next year or two? Possibly, and then you have something, but a low-end score of a guy who even takes off in a position, as a position player, you're maybe looking at a couple bucks you could get for that. So it's not like these astronomical returns where, let's say you spent $20 on an RPA of a running back who was injured right away at the beginning of the year, didn't play or whatever. Well, there's a lot more potential for that to be a couple $100, and you can make something on it if that player returns and has a great year, versus on a 50-cent card. So some Deshaun Watson in there. I think his career is pretty much over. I don't buy any of his stuff. So it wasn't he sorted them basically the way I would have. This would have been all the stuff I would have wanted to get rid of, and I just don't want to be. I don't want to be his dumpster, if you will. Some Herbert second year. I mean, guess there was a couple things in there that maybe would have been okay at 50 cents, but I'd already bought some decent cards, you know, for good prices that I didn't feel like I had to stretch out and force myself to buy something. Anyway, I'm gonna go look down at a few of the tables here. I'm surprised at how many people just lay cards out onto the edge of a table. Risk of theft. I saw lots of cards getting knocked on the floor. You'll probably see that in the video here a couple times. I do end this video completely before I leave the show, just because the battery runs out and I don't feel like popping out the camera and changing the battery and doing all that and reshooting. I usually get enough footage from the first hour of filming that I go with that, but it'll be pretty interesting to see
if you don't mind. Soccer roll
if that changes, you know, in the future, if the dealers are doing more display tables and things, you know, shadow boxes and stuff to keep their cards. So this is the dealer that I like to buy from every time. He's pretty much the only one that's got soccer. So that's where I went right away to the soccer. He's got Chrome. He had a little bit of Merlin, stuff those are all my favorite sets of cards. Sergino Dest, you know, he's a USA player. I'm just going to buy some odds and ends out of these boxes here. Harry Kane, Giovanni Reina. So these cards were a quarter a piece, which of course I'm going to make a big enough stack here. I'm not going to be hit with a quarter a piece for them. But I love digging through soccer boxes. You'd be surprised that, and you'll see in soon I'll upload a video too of my soccer cards that I've kept in my PC. And a lot of them I got, you know, out of a dollar box. Just messy stuff, you know. I mean, best player in the world, and they just kind of get discarded. And like I said earlier, soccer is just not prominent in my area, so I don't see a lot of it. So sometimes I might overpay for a card here or there, but it's that I have to buy it then or I don't see it again. So I'd like to pick them up. Now, one thing you won't see in this video is once I was done with the show and I'm ready to leave, I ran into a guy that does dealering in Appleton. I should know his name, but I don't. We always run into each other at shows and just chat a bit, but he had hit these boxes before me, and he wiped out, you know, the Mbappes and some of the Fodens, and I think he might have had a Messi or two as well, but so it was kind of funny because it was like, oh man, when I got there, I was wondering where all those cards were. So he had hit that before me, but it's fun to run into people that, you know, are kind of doing the same thing as you and watch the channel and that. So I was like seeing them. I don't go to every show every weekend or anything. You know, we have a few shows a month in my area, which is nice, but I don't have the time, and I've got a family and other things to do, so I try to get to one show a month. That's really my goal. It helps me pick up a few cards to list and have some inventory. It's fun. It's a nice break. They're fairly local, so no cost to get in. So I mean, it's a very cheap activity other than what you end up buying for cards. But it's a great time. Shows are by far my favorite part of the hobby. So I'm still digging through the soccer here. I've found a few. I thought about buying the Adam Traore's. I kind of regret that. I think at a quarter a piece would have been a good buy. I've sold some of his stuff in the past. But I'm just kind of looking for the more name stars, if you will. The Pulisic, which the guy was just talking about, bought the Pulisics that were in there. I look for Pulisic and Messi and Ronaldo and Lewandowski and Mbappe and Neymar, stuff like that. Holland. I didn't see any Holland stuff. Now, one thing that's interesting with this dealer is, and I ended up coming back later after I had spoken with my friend from the other shows. He had a 1979 World Sport, and I'll put a picture of it on the screen here. World Sport Pele card, raw for 65, and I've really been looking for a good vintage Pele. The rookies are way out of my price range, so I'm willing to buy something from the 70s, 80s, whatever. Now in this box, I'm into football here, so I end up finding a pretty good stack of veteran football stuff as well, as you'll see as we go here. But yeah, I really thought about buying that Pele, but when I got a chance to take a look at it a little closer, it did have a fairly sizable like indentation crease in the top left corner. Raw, you're taking a chance. You don't even really know if it's authentic. Pretty sure it is. He's a pretty reputable dealer, and it looked good to me. I looked up quite a few copies of it online. It looks like PSA 5s and 6s go for about $65, which is what he had priced for the raw. I'm guessing that's about how it would grade based on that corner. The rest of it looked pretty good. If the card's small and has rounded corners, so it's not really that hard to grade. Outside of some centering issues and any damage to the card, of course. But I just didn't feel like it was the right. I'd had to get it quite a bit cheaper for it to really fit what I was looking for. If it was graded and he had it priced out, I might have felt a little differently about it. But for that price, I can buy a PSA 5 or 6 for $65 to $80 online. And then I know exactly what I got. I don't have to pay for grading. I'd rather do that, so I decided to pass on that. So we're still digging through soccer here. I apologize earlier. I said we were on the football. It's not true. We were still in soccer. I was skipping ahead on myself there. But we're getting through it. Has them fairly well organized, generally by set. And so I can skip through the sets, the bit of lower end sets that I'm not really interested in buying out of, unless it's major players. So the soccer, I'll look through all of it, but the football, I'm going to go to specific sets. So he had a bunch of Prism. Obviously, Prism is a no-brainer at $1/4 a piece for decent players. And so I start flipping through there. I find, I think, a Marino, a Manning, and I find a couple of bigger names right off the bat. I think Josh Allen. So I'm going to pick those up for $1/4, and of course I'll get them for less than $1/4 once I bundle and make my offer. So Barry Sanders. So just some players that I would normally buy. I'd love to pick up in lots. Any Prism cards. So I'm going to grab what I can out of these for names. Probably the only one here is looking at buying them anyway. So gives him a good chance to move some of this stuff and get a bulk sale out of it. Clear some space. There's a Roethlisberger. This is stuff that they don't take up much space, of course, and I can throw them in my store. It allows me to expand my listings a little bit and get a few sold here and there. One thing that I've realized too is multiples I have of a player really helps me, which I'm not surprised at because that was kind of why I started with the Favre stuff. But if I have one Marino card, I'll sell one Marino card. If I have 25 different same price tier Merinos, I might sell 4 or 5 to one person. So it's helped me get some more multiple orders, if you will. So it's worth it for me that way because it saves on fees and shipping and all that, of course. You end up preserving more of your profit margin. I'm going through some of the inserts here for football, nothing of real names, so that was all the Prism there. And now we're on the Prism Draft, which does not do as well, but again, the big name players. You can sell Brady's, you can sell Rodgers, you can sell Breeze, which there's a Breeze right there. Anything Mahomes, I'll buy. Mahomes is going to be my new active player that I'm buying since Brady's done. So any Mahomes stuff I can find for under $1, I'll pick that up. It's a generational player. Believe in him long term still. I know he struggled a little bit the past couple of years. Well, if you want to call losing in the Super Bowl a struggle and then losing in the championship game a struggle, I guess that's a struggle you'd take, but he hasn't been his, you know, he isn't what he was when he won the MVP award. So, but I believe that he'll be back into that form and he'll be right back in the Super Bowl and have a good shot at winning it. Without Brady there, that helps. I mean, Brady was winning the Super Bowl in his career almost every other year, or a couple of years and then a year off, and then a couple of years and a year off. Didn't give a lot of, as an investor, didn't give you much odds of other teams winning it. So now that he's gone, that's going to open the door a little bit to. I don't know about the NFC side. I think Trey Lance coming in for Jimmy G and how good the 49ers are, I think that could make a huge difference this year. I think they could be really, really, really good if Trey plays well, of course. They've also got Deebo Samuel and Kittle, and they've got a pretty good offensive group as well, and their line is good. So I think he's going to get a chance to do something pretty special there. So we're still digging through the Prism draft here. I'm just about done, and then I'll put my package together. There's a Joey B. A Joe Burrow second year. I'll buy those Prism all year, all day long for 15 cents, 20 cents, whatever I'm going to end up getting these for. A Favre, why not? 15-cent Favre Chrome card. Mosaic doesn't get that much love. Mosaic it's a weird product to me because it's a Chrome product. It's basically Prism, another version of Prism in my mind. But it just doesn't get that love. It had kind of a weird overprinting last year. This year I don't think there's as much of it out there. And so people are kind of coming back to it. I don't know. I think the inserts were cool. I like the prisms where most of them are a mosaic style. Colors, things like that. So I feel like long-term Mosaic is going to get a lot of its due. It's still printed less than Prism, so. So anyway, I'm careful not to spend much on it. When I buy lots, I tend to make sure I get a better deal on it than I would other Chrome card lots, because the resale isn't quite as good. But then, I have things like happened last month where I had someone come in and buy out basically all my Brady Mosaic. It was like 50-some cards, and bought them all at my price. A combined discount price, but still, it was easily made money on them, $4 a piece, whatever. So it's kind of like, well, why wouldn't I buy if I can get them for 25, 30 cents, and I can get a couple bucks for them? Or the Brady's generally would be $1 a piece base, if you will, but buy $1, sell for $4, and then when you can sell in bulk and assume a lot of that profit in one big chunk, I don't know. So I still have some, I still pay some attention to Mosaic. Sort of feel like it's kind of like Bowman Chrome or Bowman's Best from back in the day. 90s is my experience, so I kind of compare things to that. But people weren't really into that because of Topps Chrome. It's kind of like, well, why have Topps Chrome? Why do I need Bowman Chrome? And now Bowman Chrome has really come along and sells almost as well as Topps Chrome. It's like right there. So especially with Brady being in Bowman Chrome, but there was no Topps Chrome his rookie year, and that's kind of a pivotal card in collecting, in the hobby and stuff. So sort of brought those brands along a little bit. I feel like Mosaic is kind of in that spot right now, so we'll see what it does long term. But again, at 25 cents a card asking, it really doesn't matter even who the manufacturer was if the player name on the card is good. So I would pay a quarter for Brady and Mahomes Donruss cards all day long, scorecards. So I found some Illusions. Illusions is one of those weird sets, kind of like Mosaic, where it has a little bit of a following. It's a fairly premium product. It's printed well. It's refractorish. It's got nice photography, but it just doesn't. Just doesn't command the attention that a lot of the other brands does. Which I believe that means there's less printed of it and stuff too. But I really like it, and the people who buy it do love it. So again, at a quarter a card on some bigger names, I'll take that. Just kind of flicking through the Donruss real quick just to see if I see anything that catches my eye, but I don't really want to buy a bunch of Donruss based stuff. So, like I said, he had these kind of sorted in sets, so I kind of went right to the chrome stuff, as most would. Here's pile select. I'm gonna see if there's something in there for some opportunity for me. Didn't find any, but there's some decent stuff in illusions. I'm thinking maybe somebody hit the select stuff before me. It was kind of odd that there were still big names in the prism stuff, in the base prism, but the select was pretty poor for selection of players. I'm guessing somebody got there before me on that one. I'm just looking for the big name quarterbacks. Like I said, I don't really buy Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson. If I pull them in packs, great, I try to sell them, but I'd rather get the Roethlisbergers and the Breeze and Manning and Elway, and I'd rather get the solid gold players that have a lot of following, because remember, this isn't going to be an investment sale. Somebody who buys these cards isn't necessarily an investor, they're a collector. So they're going to want, they're a John Elway collector, they're going to want these John Elway cards. They're a Broncos collector, they're going to want these John Elway cards, things like that. So you're not going to get some of these. Although I was getting Joe Burrow Illusions rookies at this same show a few months ago for 50 cents a card, and I flipped those for 15 a piece. I think I had 3 of them. Should be in the video from that month. I think that was October or November maybe. Show that I went to, but anyway, yeah. So, I felt Joe Burrow rookie cards of anything were pretty much worth 50 cents. So, kind of interesting that way. But that just goes to show you, like, if that was a Prism Joe Burrow rookie, they would have been asking $100, or more. But because it was Illusions, it was kind of an afterthought, just sort of, kind of like different Chronicles rookies and stuff, they just sort of get tossed aside, but it's like Donruss Clear and XR and Flux, some of those cards are super cool, and you can't buy packs of them. So there just isn't that much printed. I think the Chronicles is super underrated that way. We should have bought more at the National and got more National packs. I regret that one to this day. The National packs are so good. I could have got a ton of Chronicles for hardly anything because of the value of the Panini packs. Would have made it all worth it. So here's some Absolute. The Stargazing are not players that I would buy, and again, the guy that I mentioned earlier, he had hit those and bought a bunch of the Stargazing. I like the Stargazing cards as well. So there isn't going to be a lot of opportunity in here for me. He had hit these boxes before me. Just kind of getting through the inserts there. And then I think I've got one more. Yep, I have the Elite row here. Elite is one of my favorite brands of all time. It sells really well. The little bit that I was able to get in the store last year, pretty much all the Hall of Fame or the big name base cards are already sold, and I've already lost them. So there's a Herbert for 20 cents, second year, Elite. Gosh, it's just such easy money. So I hit the Elite pretty good here, and I bought pretty much every name I thought I could resell. It seemed like a easy choice for me. Again, I think it's one of those sets that doesn't get a lot of printing compared to some of the other sets. They look nice, they're shiny, the patterns, the design of the cards is really nice. Photography is nice, player featured on the front, and just sort of that background stripe behind them, just great cards. So I found a pretty good stack of Elite stuff. I was happy about that. And then here's some more. Buy these as well. I think I found a Favre in there, which is always nice. I don't even know if I have a Favre set aside in my PC out of Elite, so I'll have to check. There might even be a PC card, which is crazy, considering how many lots and everything else I do with the Favre stuff. You would think that would have been something I would have had a long time ago. And then I think I found another little section here of Illusion stuff, so I'm going to Oh yeah, I found some optic too, but really wasn't anything in the optic that was going to be worth anything, unfortunately. I know he had offered to the guy I was talking about earlier. I know this dealer had offered him to actually buy out these quarter boxes, and he had passed on that idea. But if you could get them cheap enough, and maybe it would have been worth it, because like I said, they're sorted well, so it makes it easier to resell, list, whatever you want to do with them. But I'd have had to get it pretty cheap. It would have had to been like 4 or 5 cents a card, because there's a lot of cards in there that just you're not gonna get anything for. This is my last run here. This is I think this is 2021 Illusions. So this would have been the brand new Illusion stuff, whereas the previous stack I think was the 2020. So I didn't find a ton of stuff in this, but I found a few name players in there that I know I can do something with. I'm also looking at Russell Wilson stuff, because I think he could end up getting traded. Rodgers, I have some of that anyway, but I bought a few base cards because I think he could get traded. So I think there's some moves in there too that could help the value of some of these guys. Kellen Mond, I also think, is maybe not a bad move. I don't know how long Kirk Cousins is going to stick around. And I think the Vikings actually have a pretty good team, and if Rodgers leaves, the Vikings have a pretty good shot at winning the division. So, I mean, there's a few cards that have to fall in order there for something like that to occur, but for 20, 30 cents here or there, if you're taking a shot at it, it's probably not a bad idea. Part of the hobby and the investment and all that is taking a loss here and there. Sometimes you're just not going to be right. Even if you've got a surefire player, like a Rodgers or a Mahomes, that's good. There's injury, there's, like look at Deshaun Watson. He was doing so well and so popular, and his stuff was expensive, and then broke the law, and, might be out of the league because of that. So there's just so many things when you're with the active player. Alright, so we're almost done here with the quarter boxes. I'll put together my offer, as you'll see shortly. I've got to count them all up here. I ended up with 72 cards. So if you figure that on a quarter a piece, which I actually think I get my calculator out here and do the math on. Here it comes. So if you do the math, it's 18 bucks. So I am going to offer him, just a second here. Gotta go get his attention. Oh yeah, and then I found these Amanda Nunez. I took those too. I'd sold a few of her cards before, so I figured I'd grab them. I think there's 1 or 2 more in there. That one too. I don't really know the other fighters. I'm not big on the UFC, so I just kind of play it by ear on that. And I've bought some Amanda before, and it's done okay,
right,
so I figured I might as well add those as well.
Sure. Perfect.
So I did $12. It should have been $18, so I got $6 off.
Yeah, if you have some, that would be amazing.
So you figure I paid what, about 18 cents a piece.
You have change for a 20? Okay.
So we're gonna have to change 20 here. I didn't have the small bills, but gave me some team bags too to bag them up, which was really nice of him. Those are the little things that dealers do that you really appreciate.
These I can fit in here.
Now, normally especially if you're going to put all the stuff in your boxes loose. Normally I would bring a little box with me and I would just put loose cards in that. And I thought it was in my bag, but it wasn't. So this came out kind of handy. And again, I put them in that little inside pouch in my backpack where they stay pretty protected. They don't sink down to the bottom or anything.
Thank you, sir.
But still. Alright, so I'm going to try to get these in as few bags as I can, so I'm not using up all his little supplies here. You know, and team bags are what, 2 cents a piece, something like that, so it's, you know, not that big a deal after when you're buying a bunch of stuff. But he did give me a deal on the cards too, so I don't want to take advantage. So I think I can fit the rest of these here in this last bag. Then I've got one bag that I can return to him to use with another customer.
One extra.
And that's it. That's pretty much my buying experiences for this show. There's a few other tables around here. Like I said, I talked to some viewers and stuff for a little while, which isn't on the video. But actually there is one more. I think there's one more table where I buy a bunch of base cards. I'll show you in my pickups video. I don't think I got it in this video. And that's what I was talking about earlier. How by setting your cards on the edge of the table, they can all end up on the floor. It's a prime example. You can see it right here. This young man accidentally dropped these all on the floor. Luckily, no one stepped on them. They seemed like they were in holders and stuff, but yeah, you got to be very careful putting your stuff on the end of a table. It's either going to walk off with someone who didn't pay for it, or it's going to end up on the floor. Both are bad scenarios. So I figured since, I turned around and this was right there, I'd dig through his boxes a little bit. Didn't really see anything I needed. So I think I did get this one last deal on video, but we'll see. So I'm kind of going back out towards the entrance, and there was a dealer there that had a bunch of, it said rookies, vets, whatever, $1 a piece, and I didn't really dig through those. He didn't have them sorted by player, but he had them sorted by team, so that helped me kind of go through them, because I knew what players I would want from what teams. And it wasn't a huge box, so I figured I would take the time and go through that before heading out. So we're getting back towards the entrance here. This was one of the first tables you saw when I came in to the main hall area. And we're going back to the slender table area where there isn't quite as much room to walk around.
Good, yourself?
See if we get it all in the video. I can't remember if my camera stopped before this or not. It might have stopped midway going through that last box. But either way, you'll get to see what I found at least. And, similar to any other deal, it was, a bunch of cards. They were supposed to be $1 a piece. And then I scored, about 35% off of that. Which is really what you want to do. You want to preserve those margins, make it worth your efforts. Especially on cards you might have to sit on for a little while. So this is the guy that owns the shop. Tim is his name. And he sells wax at his table. It's his store, and it's a storage space in the back that we use for the show. So he does not allow wax sales at the show. He wants to get the wax sales, which I can understand that. But you're allowed to sell anything else. Supplies, singles, stuff like that. But he always puts a little bit of wax out on his table, but he has quite a selection inside the actual shop too. Yeah, this is one in the back corner here. I was kind of waiting to see. He had a little $1 box. By the time I finally got to see what was there, it was all basketball, so I decided to skip that. I'm going to make kind of my last shot here at the final tables, and then I'm going to head out back towards the entrance. Bunch of Jordan stuff stacked out front. Nothing real spectacular. Some base stuff, some Jordan set stuff. Alright, so now I'm getting back to this little skinny corridor here where it's the entrance and the exit, so it gets a little bit clustered. I like that guy's case. He has a lot of earlier basketball stuff, which I like. Not too crazy on most of the modern stuff, but he has some 80s basketball, and it's kind of cool to see. Okay, so here's the guy right here. You can see the box on this corner up on the top right of the screen. And he's got it sorted by teams, I believe, for most of the basketball teams. But he has this box on the end, which there's no prices on anything. It just says rookies and stars, essentially. So you see some Barry Sanders here right at the beginning. I always like to grab Barry Sanders stuff. Actually, I put a few of those back. I wish I would have grabbed them all. I was just kind of doing my quick early search here to see if this was a box I really wanted to take some time with. And once I asked him what prices were, then I decided that that would be worth my efforts to go through this box. But I don't think I went back to the berries after that. So, but it was worth my time to go through there. I did find, I'd say maybe 30 cards, a little less than 30 cards. Oh, I counted them out obviously eventually. I think it's 26, 27 cards, something like that. So I took that one, but I didn't take the other berries. I don't know. And normally with any parallel or insert Barry Sanders or more premium product, I just buy them if I can get them cheap enough. I mean, $1 isn't super cheap. It's not like the quarter boxes I just left, but at $1 and then negotiated down to about half that, 55, 60 cents. There's still money on virtually any Barry Sanders premium product cards. So I'm just going to dig through this box. I'll find about, like I said, I think it's 26 cards. You'll see in that next video when they're counted up. But you can see how they were sort of themed by team. So I decided to kind of jump to the back to see if this box was really going to be worth it. I grabbed that one berry. I put it back. I just didn't see much else that I wanted. So I wasn't able to hit my quantities right away. But then, second card in, digging from the back, is a Brady insert. Then I found some Brady non-concourse cards, so some premier level, stuff like that. That's a little bit more rare. And once I found the Brady's, it was go time. I was able to put it together a pretty big pile of stuff. Once I hit 6 to 10 cards in a box, there's some color Brady. Once I hit 6 to 10 cards, I know I can get a better deal, and then it's worth it for me to keep going to try to get them. We just got about 2 minutes left in this video here, so I don't think this is going to show you my whole dig in this box or my offer, unfortunately, but I think you get the idea. I mean, I've done this a lot, and you saw it earlier in the video too, where I pick them out and then I make my offer. Most of the dealers here are really nice. They don't really even haggle with you. I almost feel sometimes like I over offer because they want 20 bucks, I offer them 10 and they say, yep, I'll take it. There isn't even I'll do 15, Trey Lance rookie, I'm starting to grab more of that stuff. That's actually on the Sport Card Investors top 50 right now, that particular card. So thought for 55, 60 cents I'm getting these for, that would be a good one to throw down. I believe he'll be the starter for San Francisco next year. I think I said that earlier in the video. So I'll watch for those here and there. Elite Brady, some Optic Brady. Those are, at that price, those are all no-brainers for me to purchase. I'll just keep buying Brady's as long as I can keep finding the deals on them. Alright, so we're getting to about the 1 minute remaining mark here, so you'll see a few more as I dig through. I like those Youthquakes. Daniel Jones I'm not real big on, so I passed on it, but they're just nice looking cards. But you can see in here it's Illusions and Prism and yeah, some Chronicles, but it's the more premium Chronicles stuff, Spectra and things like that. XR, that stuff can do pretty well. XR Brady's, I bought 5 or 6 of those in a lot, pretty cheap, and they all sold like instantly. So I'd love to get some more of those. And that's what I mean by Chronicles not being a big brand, but there's so many different brands within it that they're not that printed. So when you get cards of collectible vets like a Brady, they're a good find. All right, so another Green Bay card show in the books. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. I'd love to hear from you below. And please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Ring the bell if you want to be notified of any future videos, and I will keep bringing you some content. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again soon.